people, it's me, Anja. My pronouns are she and her, and welcome back to my channel for a new recent reads video. May has been a pretty successful reading month so far. For example, today is May 22nd, and I have already read 29 books, which makes me very, very excited for the rest of May. So anyway, without any further ado, the first book on this list is called You Don't Have a Shot. This story is a YA contemporary following a young ace-back lesbian main character who must co-captain a soccer team with her rival. I enjoyed this book and I liked it, but I didn't completely love it the way that I was really expecting to. For those who don't know, I had really high expectations for this book because the author previously wrote Ophelia After All, which was one of my favorite books of last year, and everyone keeps saying that this book is just as good, if not better, than Ophelia, and I would have to say that I completely disagree, because personally for me, I like this book because I enjoyed the friendships and the characters, and the plot was intriguing and it was engaging, and I enjoyed the family dynamics. But for me, I just didn't really like the romance that much. Rivals to lovers is not my favorite romantic trope at all, because I find rivalries to be inherently immature and petty and just dumb, and already setting in a high school setting, it just felt very unnatural and just weird and based on miscommunication, which again is one of my least favorite tropes, although of course I understand it because they're in high school. So anyway, the point is, I didn't completely love this book as much as I really wanted to. I understand the hype, but I don't agree with it, and with that said, I rated this book 3 out of 5 stars, so take that as you will. The next book on this list is called We'll Never Tell. This story is a YA sapphic thriller following a young sapphic main character who is investigating her best friend's attack, and she's not sure if it's connected to past historical events or the present. I enjoyed this book and I liked it, but I didn't completely love it. Although, with that said, whenever I start a new thriller mystery, I find myself not allowing myself to become emotionally attached to any of the characters, because oftentimes I can't trust anyone. I don't trust the main character or her best friends or any of her family members or her love interest or any new character ever, because every single time I'm thinking in my head, this could be a red herring. Every single time a character seems good or nice or whatever, at the end there's always a chance that they're not. You know what I mean? So anyway, with that said, as a reader who prefers generally character-driven stories over plot-driven stories, typically historically, I don't rate thrillers anything higher than 3 stars. So with that said, within the parameters of this story, I enjoyed the plot. It was intriguing and it was engaging, and I enjoyed it, and I don't regret reading this book by any means. But I did rate it 3 stars because I wasn't fully captivated by the characters or the mystery in general or anything like that. So overall, I rated this book 3 out of 5 stars. Take that as you will. The next book on this list is called Fake Dates and Mooncakes. This story is another YA contemporary that follows a young gay Asian boy who starts fake dating a new customer. And it's inspired by Crazy Rich Asians, if I'm not mistaken, and it felt very reminiscent of that movie. And for me, that's not really a compliment concerning this book, although I did really enjoy that movie and I would watch the sequel if they ever made one. But anyway, the point is, I liked this book and I enjoyed it, and I know I've said before that fake dating is one of my favorite romantic tropes, but in this book it wasn't really executed well because the fake dating ended earlier than I was expecting. So after that, their chemistry didn't really feel natural to me at all, if that makes any sense. So I wasn't really sold by the romance, which was a detriment because the story is very romance driven. So with that said, I enjoyed the characters themselves individually. The plot was intriguing. The family dynamics of the main character were intriguing, not of the love interest. I did not care for his family drama literally at all. So anyway, overall, I liked this book. I liked the cooking elements, the food elements. Those were well developed. I would read more by this author in the future, but I would have lower expectations. So anyway, overall, I rated this book 3 out of 5 stars. I would definitely recommend it if you're a huge fan of Crazy Rich Asians. So with that said, take that as you will. The next book on this list is called Ellie Engle Saves Herself. This story is a middle-aged fantasy contemporary following a young black sapphic main character who gains the ability to bring things back to life after an earthquake, and this story is absolutely so good, and I really enjoyed it. I had really high expectations for this book, hence why it was on my May TBR, and I'm so glad that it lived up to those expectations. The writing is unbelievably, so excellent and so lyrical. The story is so pretty and so beautiful. The friendships made so much sense, and I love them. The characters were so well developed and so distinct. I loved how subtle and simple the main character's relationship with her sexuality was. Literally, this book is so good, and honestly I would say that I prefer this book to the author's previous YA books, Rise to the Sun and You Should See Me in a Crown. Literally, this book is so good and I loved it so much. The magic was so awesome and it was so intriguing. The plot was so engaging and absolutely so captivating. Literally, this book, like I said, is so good and it's so brilliant. And with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it because I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars and I clearly really enjoyed it. The next book on this list is called The Witch of Woodland. This story is another middle-aged urban fantasy that follows a young Jewish main character who is navigating her religion, friendships, and magic. This story is absolutely so fantastic and it's so good. Again, this is another book that was on my May TBR, and I'm so glad that it lived up to my expectations because if I'm remembering correctly, this is the book on my May TBR that I had the lowest expectations for. If I'm not mistaken, it was either this book or Skating on Mars, which I haven't read yet because, again, like I mentioned, today is May 22nd and that book comes out May 30th. But anyway, this book was absolutely so good and I really enjoyed it. First of all, the writing was so magical and absolutely so lyrical, and it made so much sense and it made the story so much more easily to digest, if that makes any sense. The plot was so intriguing and so engaging. The characters were so well developed and so distinct. The friendships felt so authentic and so well done. The family dynamics were so wonderful and so lovely. The Jewish representation was so great, and I really enjoyed learning more about that history and that culture and that religion, since I don't know much about that at all, since my history was fed to me through a very Western Christian lens. So anyway, I digress. This story is absolutely so fantastic and it's so good, and I just really enjoyed it. So overall, I rated the story 4 out of 5 stars, and with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The last book on this list, and certainly not the least, is called Ruby Lost and Found. This story is a middle-aged contemporary following a young Asian main character who's spending the summer with her grandmother the year after her grandfather passed away. This story is absolutely so excellent and it's so well done and so well developed in literally every single element. First of all, the characters were all so well developed and so distinct, and I loved the main character's relationship with her grandmother, with her grandfather, with her parents, with her sister. Literally all of those relationships felt so authentic and so well done. The friendships were so lovely and so wonderful. I love it when middle-aged stories touch on fractured friendships as well as forging new friendships because they feel so authentic and so relatable. This book is so good. The plot was so engaging and so intriguing. I loved how the author touched on grief and loss and love. This book is so excellent and it's absolutely so lyrical and so beautiful. I had really high expectations for this book, hence why it was not only on my May TBR, as well as being one of my most anticipated 2023 new releases, because the author previously wrote Clues to the Universe last year, or maybe the year before, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm so glad this book not only met those expectations, but exceeded them. So anyway, overall, this book is totally worth all the hype and so much more, and with that said, I rated it 5 out of 5 stars, because not only did it make me cry, but there was nothing that I would change about the story at all. So anyway, all that to say, I would definitely highly recommend this book. So in conclusion, like I mentioned earlier, today is May 22nd and I have already read 29 books, so the rest of May is really looking up as a reading month in terms of quality and in quantity. So in conclusion, if you enjoy this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up, comment down below the unicorn emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!